right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever and whenever you are in the world. This is Adam Harrison, joined with Jessie, the body super guitar builder, Darren McDonald, and the effervescent Joe Oltean.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good night.
Good night. End of show.
And we've been brought to you by cbgiddy.com. Yes, we are brought to you by cbgiddy.com. Big thanks to Ben and the Nick and the team out there at CB Giddy for helping sponsor the show. We do greatly appreciate it. We're also sponsored by Killer Strings Australia and Killer Strings US, I guess, too. So it's all happening, man. It's all been going on. What's been happening in your worlds?
Work.
Go, Darren, you're up. How is work going?
I just reconstructed the whole back end of my shed.
Cool. Yeah.
Chopping wood, chainsawing wood, you know.
You chainsawing guitar bodies yet?
Only the frets.
Look at that.
Is that your latest? That looks great.
Yeah, this
4-stringer?
Three.
3?
It was for the swap off, but, you know, nobody's getting it now. I am.
Really? They missed out, definitely. Yeah. I might have to build 2.
I don't know.
Just for those people, of course, on the podcast, Darren's holding up a 4-string telly
string.
Is it 3-string?
Yeah.
3-string, sorry. 3-string telly style inspired guitar, which looks absolutely beautiful. What are you built it from? The body's pine? Pallet timber?
Yeah, the body's pine. I don't know what the neck is. It's like a piece of timber I found. I haven't quite worked out what it is.
Yeah, can't see it from...
The headstock is really cool.
Well, that's nice. That's not oak.
No.
I reckon it's Moranti. Something like that. It's like a mahogany kind of grain. It's a little lighter in colour, but it's got that
it's really
kind of
tough to put screws in and that.
Oh, it's a bit harder. Ooh, teak.
Yeah.
You have a bit of teak.
I've broken 3 screws.
Yeah, well, you've got a bit of teak floating around your area at the moment. I know you've done a couple of things in teak.
Like this neck, I pulled out a kitchen, and that's what I found when I was pulling it out. So
old hardwood. They used quality gear back in the day.
Bit of old eucalypt.
Basically, that's it.
That's gorgeous, man.
Looks great.
Cool.
Well, you know what? Keep it. Because I tell you what, that's a cracker of an instrument, mate. Absolute cracker. And what's been happening?
Especially for a swap.
Well, you know, look, we've got.
I was hoping Jessie was going to swap with me, but I'm heartbroken.
The international shipping is going to be steep.
Yeah.
I was hoping you guys would get a lot more builders because there's a lot of builders in Australia.
And it's the first one. We'll see what happens.
But I already did one swap like a month ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. So maybe next time I'll get on the Australia one.
Yeah. Well, big thanks to Bert and to Alex for actually stepping up, because otherwise it would have been a bit fucking sad.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Alex and Bert, for getting involved in making it an international swap.
You know, and
that's a commitment, because now there's the postage is going to be worth as much as the instrument, basically.
Yeah.
And
so it's.
And you guys have like customs. You got to go through all that stuff, right?
No.
Oh,
hope not.
No, we really don't. I think we're very lucky in Australia because thank old John Howard, one of our prior prime ministers, for bringing in the GST. It means that we don't pay import taxes on things like that. So, whereas in the UK they have to pay things like that, you guys have got tariffs and things like that you have to pay you know, to get things into the States. Here in Australia, we don't. I thought the cat was going to go here then. We don't. Yeah, we don't. We don't pay any import taxes or anything like that. There's it is pretty good in that way. I must admit.
Definitely not. I sent a cigar box guitar to Germany one time.
Yeah.
And the guy, I mean, he ended up paying just as much for import tax as he did on the guitar he bought from me. I felt terrible about it. I mean, I couldn't do nothing about it either.
Yeah. Well, I've had to put a disclaimer on my website because I do get, funnily enough, I don't get many American clients, which is understandable. I mean, you guys over there, you've got like thousands and thousands of builders over there. There's obviously. But I do get quite a few European and including UK clients. So I've noticed the last couple of builds, the UK, they are paying about. I think they're paying about they've had to pay about $120 or $100 or something like that on a tax, a VAT or whatever it is, to get it in
to receive.
And you know. You've got to be legitimate about it as well. Like if they've paid, if they paid $460 for a guitar, you can't write gift. You can't write $120. You've got to be legitimate about it, especially if you have a business. I did get one call from a guy who said, "Oh, look, I had to pay an import duty." I said, "Yeah, well," I said, "it does." I've got a disclaimer in, right down the bottom of every single page that says, that describes my refund policy and shipping. And I've actually made sure that I've written, your country, make sure that you understand your country's import taxes. It's got nothing to do with me. I don't know. All I do is send them out, and it's up to people to understand. So. No one's actually gone, "Oh, well, I don't want it."
Yeah.
It costs them.
I haven't sold any overseas. I've kept all mine in country.
Yeah. Oh, look, I don't mind. I don't mind sending overseas. My least favourite thing is building lefties because it just messes with my head. No, I've got to build them up. No, I have to build them standing on my head. So.
Nah. Lefties are great.
So
they're the exception.
I might be opening up a leftatorium out there in your place, Joe. People make orders with me, and I'll send you the specs, and you can build them for me.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Well, you can build it, and I'll finish it.
While we're talking about it, it just made me think, Jessie. I want to talk about your I'm going to call it the Colagular. What's the name of that guitar that we were talking about today?
Yeah, Colagular.
Is it Colagular?
Yeah, it's just kind of a name I came up with, I guess, because...
coagulated blood.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
It. And it's also... Yeah. Caligula, wasn't Caligula a Roman emperor?
It sounds like it.
I think Caligula might have been a Roman emperor, unless I'm wrong.
I'm sorry, I have to go back. It's not Caligula. I was hearing it wrong. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
The name of that guitar is actually Colagular.
Colagular.
Yeah. Colagular, like coagulated blood.
ULAR?
COAG. Oh, God, I can't even think of it now.
I'll see it. I'll see it on the picture. It's all right. Colagular.
Yeah,
well, it sounds like Caligula. Sounds very cool sounding name, man. Very, very cool. I want to talk about your guitar, and I want to talk about that experience today of doing that. But the first thing I thought we might talk about today is build-wise. Let's call it what the English might call it, royal cock-ups. Which is what have you? What have you messed up? What's the worst building experience you've had, and specifically from a customer point of view? What's the worst situation that you've had?
Hey Adam,
yeah.
You know that red guitar you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that one.
Well, you can talk about that, Darren. You can talk about that. Hang on.
It was nothing but a piece of shit to me.
And
that one, it looks good.
And boys, would you like to know the funny thing?
What's that? You love it.
It's one of my favourite guitars that you've built.
Yeah.
Oh, piece of shit.
It sounds
Yeah, but
amazing.
you didn't have to work through all the hardship he had with it, so you just get to appreciate it.
Every time I touched it, something went wrong.
I don't. Sounds good to me.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's
kind of an inside joke here in my house. I could probably pick out a blemish in every single guitar I've ever made.
That's builder's curse.
Yeah, I mean it happens all the time.
All the time. I totally agree with you. For me, it'll be the guitar will be finished. It'll be absolutely stunning, and the only thing I see is my mistakes.
Yeah.
I can't see the overall beauty. I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
But
you're your own worst enemy.
Yeah. In a way, I like mistakes because a lot of my challenging projects happened because I stuffed up and had to take a new path. And at the end, the second part of that would be fixing the mistake ended up making the project better than it would have been. It's like a new idea. It's like an idea I didn't think of, for example. Like, even if it's simply recessing something, like if I have the surface dead flat, that was my initial plan, and I stuffed it up, and then I chose now to recess it. That's just another detail to me that makes it look even better, that I wouldn't have achieved if I didn't make the mistake in the first place. But my very worst mistake was on my very first guitar. Not a customer build, it was for myself. I didn't even know what indentation was, and I put the bridge wherever the hell I felt like. And then I'm trying to tune this thing, and I'm trying my hardest, and I couldn't get a note out of it at all. I was really, really frustrating. And then that's when I decided to do a little bit of theory and actually look into how to build a guitar. And I'm like, oh, that's why it don't work. The scale length is miles off. So, yeah, my biggest mistake was my first one. And that's like a sort of a irreplaceable mistake, you know. That was it. It's done. It's now a wall hanger for life. Never to be played.
And I think going off of what Darren was saying, you know, some of these woods, they're so damn hard. And newer builders, even just newer woodworkers, or anybody can make this mistake, is not using the proper drill bit size for the screw.
Yep, especially on hardwood.
It happens a lot, and it can happen to anybody. So sometimes it's good just to drill a pilot hole and then just countersink something just a hair bigger so the threads can get started easier. You know, I broke a drill bit off in a headstock, and then I had to go through with another drill bit, put that one out, and then your hole's not in the right place where it should have been, and
it's the problem. I've done that too. I use this, a whole chart. It's just got all different size holes on one piece of metal, and so I'll grab the screw that I'm about to use, and I'll find the hole that the screw goes in, and then I just come back one hole, and that's the drill bit I use. And so if I'm using really hard wood, I've got the hole for the screw, and think of the threading around the screw as the only part that is going to bite in. I've already made the hole for the I guess the nail portion of the screw. Yeah. If that makes sense.
The core of it.
And then the tapered spiral is just that's the biting in one more bit, and that's prevented me breaking screws for sure.
So do you go down a whole millimeter or a half mil?
On the low ones. On the small holes, I'll go down 2 holes, but when I get to the bigger holes, I go down half a mil.
Right, so for the smaller ones, you're going down a quarter. So for the smaller ones, you're going down from like it could be half a 2 mil, so half a mil. So you're going down from if you measure a 3 millimeter screw, you're going to go to 2.5.
Yeah, if I'm drilling a hole for, say, the tuners, mounting the machine head tuners, I'll go down a hole size 0.5 millimetre.
Yeah.
But if I'm drilling the hole for, say, the output jack, I go down a full millimetre.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I think output jacks are uniform. I think it gets to a point now where, like with my workshop, what I've got now is on my bench. I should do a video of we should do some workshop videos actually. But on my bench, I've got a set of drawers, and in those drawers, I've got things like I've got all the screws that I use for every single build. So I've over the last 13 years of building, I've now basically got a system where if I'm going to use a particular screw for a job, I've already got it. I already know it. I've used it so often that I know, which drill bit I'm not going to measure it. I'll just automatically go to it and I'll pick it.
You know the characteristics. You know the characteristics of that drill. That screw. You know exactly what to do with it.
Yeah, and it's just it's part of it's just a part of the build that I do. Sometimes I bounce. Like when I do, if I show you this, sorry people online, I'm just holding up a guitar that I built where I've used screws in the neck. Yep, sometimes it'll depend. Yeah, well, sometimes it'll depend on the fretboard that I've actually used. If, for example, this one's like a Hue and Pine fretboard, so it's not the hardest of timbers. So when I countersink and drill for the screw hole for the fret position markers, quite often I'll use a 2mm bit, but if it's a harder fretboard like a rosewood or an ebony or an oak, like if it's an oak that you can feel and you feel, oh, that's actually a really hard, because all timbers, you can get one oak and get another oak, and you can feel that sometimes there's a density difference depending on the tree, the individual tree, and depending on where on the tree they've taken the timber from. So all timbers, they're not all the same. So I'll bounce between like a 2mm hole for a softer timber, and I'll know that sometimes, okay, I know this is a pretty tough timber. If I want to do screws, I know I'm going to have to go to 2.5mm. And the reason for that especially is that two things. One, if you're drilling into a hard timber, especially on a neck, if you're drilling into a hard timber and you're doing, because I know a lot of us do use screws to use as fret position markers. It looks cool. It looks great. I kind of emulated when I first started Nigel McTrusty's guitars. Nigel was an amazing Queensland builder. I haven't seen him do much in the last year. His website's down. But
he's very quiet lately.
Yeah, he made beautiful guitars using keys for the bridges. He's one of my favourite builders.
He was one of my inspirations to getting into it as well.
Absolutely. But he did the screw position markers, and I love that, and I did that, and that's part of my guitars. I don't always, but it just depends on the instrument, depends on how I feel when I'm putting it together. But one of the things that can happen is that depending on the wood that you've chosen, if you're using fairly thick screws and you don't do a drill hole that's big enough, the theory is that you can actually push the neck back and give it a back bow. If you think about it, because you're
stressing the grain.
You're stressing the grain. You're stressing it and you're pressing it apart. So, and we're talking
makes sense.
Very small amounts of pressure, but it's people have said, hey, this has happened, and that may be a reason why. I mean, this thing's got a massive. This oak on this particular neck is like really, really strong. It's a really, as soon as you felt it. It was just a really strong, tight grain oak. It's got that lovely kind of, wave through it. That when you look at that, it's just a really lovely piece. It's not quarter sawn. It's on the diagonal. The grain is on the. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah,
the grain is on the diagonal, but it's a tight grain. It's very, very tight. And so I don't think anything would happen with that. But if you were using, let's say, like a pine, or you were using even some of that pine pallet timber, or, in America, what do you guys in America tend to use a lot of?
Poplar.
Poplar, things like that.
I think a lot of people use oak around here too.
Yeah.
Especially for like kitchen cabinets even and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oak's popular here too.
Very much so. Yeah, well,
I use oak.
I was talking to Mark.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're right, but I was talking to Mark Wilmot. I was talking to Mark Wilmot a few years ago, and we were chatting about oak and the Bunnings oak, and he said it's not oak. And
I know that. It's a eucalypt, isn't it?
Yeah, it's there's a variety of about 3 or 4 different trees that Bunnings apparently put under the oak banner. They're doing a lot of work at the moment with the particular eucalypt at the moment, which I actually don't mind. It's all right.
Same here.
It's
I
rather.
just used some.
I don't think this is. It's very, very, very close to the traditional kind of oak that I'm used to. But he was also saying, like Mark was also saying, it's got a slight. This might actually be it, to be honest with you. See how we got oak, and there's an oak fretboard on the top, and it's got a slightly pinkish hue.
So red oak.
It's but it's branded under eucalypt.
Yeah, so Bunnings there for a while were doing both white and red oak.
Yeah.
And the red oak looked normal until you add an oil to it or a finish, and then you got that pink hue come out.
Yeah.
This is also Bunnings oak. I bought it about 2 weeks ago. It's the same thing. I don't know if that's in focus. I haven't got my glasses on.
No, it looks lovely.
That's the one that
Yeah, it looks lovely.
That's my matched up grain. I really like that one. Feels really lovely, and I've done resin fret dots.
Oh,
so
lovely,
it's a
mate.
bit of a mess.
It's
a bit of a mess, but hopefully it'll all sand down. And that's glow in the dark pigment paint as well.
Oh, okay.
Pigment as well.
I thought you'd just been rather friendly with it. That's all.
I was. We had a moment. I can't say what my wife said. This is a PG rated podcast. I said, "Hey, what do you think of that?" And she said exactly what it looks like.
But this is a piece of red.
Oh, look at that!
Far out.
I love that grain.
So that's one piece. Usually solid body guitars are either 2, 3 at least pieces, edge glued together. And this was it was probably 15 inches wide.
Boy. Is that as heavy as hell?
It's probably around 7.5 pounds or so.
What's that about 4 kilos? That's about 4 kilos. That's a Les Paul weight.
No, Les Pauls are more like 11 pounds.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay. And mine's heavy.
Yeah, I want that guitar, Jesse.
That's spectacular.
Yeah,
I'll give you mine.
Do a swap. Yeah. Hey, I know a guy that wants a swap.
Oh, dear. Probably.
So I wanted to show you guys Yowie.
Oh, yeah, man.
I know you've seen pictures and stuff like that, but I don't think a lot of people know. This was the one, if you guys remember, I took Jenga pieces, is
that one? Yeah. That's that one. Yeah, yep.
And I just sandwiched these Jenga pieces in between 2 pieces of plywood.
That's fantastic.
Gee whiz, man.
And so going back to proper drill sizes, right? I've done this method a lot over the years, and it's colored pencils as fret markers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea.
But
I can see that.
It's hard to find for us Americans. Most guitar parts are are metric.
Yeah.
While if you use colored pencils for fret markers, you can't have the proper, standard size. So I use 5/16, and it's a hair too big.
Yeah.
But then, but if you use a 1/4 inch, which is the next in line in your drill bit set, then it's too small. So they're kind of challenging.
Yeah.
Unless I want to have two sets of drill bits, which I don't.
Get the metric ones, yeah.
Yeah. But if anybody wanted to know about Joe's, we were talking about the what would you call it?
A whole template.
They're usually at hardware stores, right? You can get them at hardware stores because that's where you go to find what size bolts you need for the missing bolt for the right nut or whatever. And I've actually always wanted to have one of those, and I never have.
Get one, because I actually use this all the time. So basically it has about 30 holes in it. It's just a little template with about 30 holes in it, and I only know metric, so I'm sorry for you American guys.
We're all sorry for the American guys.
Yeah, it ranges from 1/2 mil drill hole, and there's about 30 holes, and it goes all the way up to 16 millimeter. And so it's good, as Jessie said, bolt identification. If you've got a random bolt, you don't know what size it is, pop it in this template, and it'll tell you straight off the bat. It's extremely handy. I use it all the time.
Sure, that's it. I'm just trying to figure out how we got under to screw sizing. What was the issue? Because remember
I don't know, but we're four grown men that just ramble, so we could have got here in any way.
Well, because if you don't use the right drill bit for the screw you're using, in harder woods, you're going to most likely break it off.
Yeah.
I think it was Darren's fault. It was Darren's fault because he said he broke a couple.
Yeah, I broke 3 on this guitar right here.
Yeah, I think it's Darren's fault.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about the hardness
now
of the
you want
neck.
to trade it. So it has 3 broken screws and you want to trade it, hey?
Yeah. No, what they can't see, they don't know.
No, that's right. That's exactly right.
No, it's part of the vibe.
It is. Oh, I had to do it like that so it looked homemade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that like the Japanese have got a saying, and I cannot remember what the saying is, but it means that the builder's touch, and it means that there are, and it's expected that if you're building something by hand, that there are going to be mild imperfections and things like that. Not like massive errors, but mild imperfections that show that it's a human creation. It's something that's made by a person who has, who makes mistakes, who has fallacies, who whatever. Biggest mistake I've ever made, realistically, was 2 big ones. Both of which were international orders, which was great fun. The first one was to a person in the UK who ordered a guitar, and I built it, posted it. It was beautiful. I loved it, and he said, "I love it. It's brilliant." He said, "But I ordered one in left-handed."
Why have you got this thing that is for lefties? What have we done to you, Adam?
So I now because of that have stopgaps in place along the way that tell me left automatic, because after building 2,500 guitars, it's like you get it's muscle memory. It does become muscle memory, and doing a lefty really jogs the muscle memory because you've got to do everything upside down. It's all. That was one. He was beautiful. He was such a lovely guy. I just said, look, I said, keep it. I said, give it to a friend. I said, I'll build you another one, which he did. He was happy. He was all right. He said, I'll give it to the wife. So he was very kind. He was very sweet. That was probably 6 years ago. And another one that happened was entirely not my fault, but it did come down to a little bit of ignorance on my part on the way that chemicals react together. And it was a solid body instrument that I built, and I posted it to, I think it was Belgium. And I wrapped it, and I bubble wrapped it, and I wrapped it tight, and I wrapped it neat, and it played beautifully. And when it got there, it had these tiny, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tiny little holes where the bubble wrap had melted onto the body.
Oh.
Because I had used shellac.
Right.
And the shellac, and in transit, the shellac had reacted. It probably, in the...
bonded.
And it had gassed or reacted
and
with
it
the
bonded.
Polyester, and so I ended up giving him refunding him $150 so that he could get it refinished. He loved the guitar, but it just had all these weird little. Actually, it looked rather cool. I got to admit, I think it looked.
Yeah, you could have said that's the patina you were going for.
Yeah,
it's called the transport.
No, he was lovely. I just explained. I just went, well, okay. So now if I ever use a shellac, I actually wrap it in paper first. And I've got to keep declining. Poor old Steve. I don't know what's going on here. I've got to keep. Steve Harvey's trying to phone me. He's been trying to call me for a couple of times this morning. So I'll just have to. I already spoke to Cindy, and it's all right. It's okay.
Busy man, aren't you?
It has been busy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot happening. Steve's actually coming out to Australia for a couple of days to spend some time with me, doing some promo videos and things like that from the States. And also, he's before that he'll be over in New Zealand for about 10 days. He's doing a festival over there and promoting Cigar Box guitar playing. He's one. In all honesty, I've got a lot of time for Steve. Well, apart from the fact that I keep hanging up on him all the time. I feel terrible because I'm using I can't communicate with him because I'm using my phone. Oh, hang on, I might be able to. Hold on. I'm using my phone to record, and I'm using my iPad to see you guys. And hang on. Give me. Sorry.
Let's just forget about him for a minute. What's your next build, Jesse? You got anything on the bench at the moment?
I'm doing a series of custom ukulele necks for a customer. I don't know if I should reveal his name just yet, but
no, that's fair. So he's a builder, and you're doing the necks.
Yep, and so I've been working on 7 necks at a time right now, and they're totally different than our guitar necks.
Ukulele necks, yeah. Yeah, they are little. I did a couple fretboards not long ago, and I couldn't believe how small the fretboard was.
Yeah, so I'm doing all 3 different sizes. So I'm doing soprano, concert, and tenor. I'm not going to do baritone just yet.
The tenor, yeah. I did a concert ukulele.
Yeah.
Is that a size? That's a size, isn't it?
Yeah. So that would be a concert would be 15-inch scale length.
Right.
And so your frets are so close together, And
they are.
The thing is just because they're smaller, it doesn't take any less work. It's still the same. And
it's actually more fiddly.
Yes. And they're all exotic woods and mixed matched, not one of them is the same combination of woods. And
nice.
I did a video the other day testing the tone of all the different exotic woods, and it was very interesting,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to finish those 7, and then I'll have 11 more to build after that. So
you'll be done by Tuesday.
Right. I've been working on these 7 for probably about a month.
Wow, that's a long time for you.
It is. Well, you know, an hour here and an hour there, you know. But it's been quite the experience. I'm having fun with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, good.
Jessie,
Good.
let's Jessie, you are the man of the moment today. We are talking about Colagular, which is your guitar. So let's start. Let's have a talk about Colagular. Now, for those people who don't know what I'm talking about, do you want to explain what's just happened over the last couple of days?
Sure, and I actually, as you were denying Steve Harvey's call, I was denying a call from a birthday boy. He's actually having a birthday party tonight, and he would be the guitarist for the band Between Monsters and Mercy.
Yeah,
and they just put out a music video. They just released it last night, and he played one of my guitars, Colagular, in the music video, and I was just like flattened, you know. I get to hear all these songs, you know, in the process as they're making them, you know, little demos, and it's so cool that they involve me, you know.
It is. That's awesome.
And I'm totally honored, and so there's kind of a story to that guitar, and for the people listening, I'll kind of describe it here. It's a Poplar Fender Stratocaster style body made out of poplar. It's painted white and is splattered with red paint to make it look like a bloody scene, right? And
it's effective. It looks good.
Thanks. The neck is bloodwood and hickory, I believe. So it's a very, very dense, hard neck. It's got a couple EMG humbuckers in it, and I raffled it off. So 2 years ago, next month in July, 2 years ago, there was a festival, and it was kind of in memoriam. It was actually called the Memoriam Festival, kind of in remembrance of, you know, friends who have passed away, you know, that were big into the music scene, especially the heavy metal music scene. And they asked me to be a part of it, and there's probably 5 or 6 bands, I think, played. And I raffled this guitar off, and the guy who won it, he was, I mean, what a gentleman. He gifted it to the band Between Monsters and Mercy. So the band kind of inherited this guitar, and they've put it to use. And, you know, I've got a couple guitars out there. There's actually one going to be played on stage tonight in Omaha, Nebraska by a band called Rival Within. And that's
I've heard of Rival Within.
It's a bass guitar, and it just feels so cool that, you know, when you know something is being played on stage, whether it's in front of 10 people or 100 or 1,000 or whatever, you know, that your name is out there on stage as well.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no.
That is
so
awesome.
It really pumps me up, if you can't tell. It kind of pumps me up.
Oh, you bet. You should be proud. That's an achievement. We all desire for something like that. And to be in a music video, I watched that video last night. It's heavier than what I'm used to, but it definitely rocks, and it's a great video. Yeah, and you know, coming from Nebraska, right? You know, if you look to the bigger cities in the U.S. and they think, what
what's Nebraska? You know, what? You know, it's nothing. It's in the middle of a cornfield. And I say it all the time. There is so much talent in this state in all different genres of music. And it's unbelievable. And it's just, I don't know.
And you're a part of it.
Right.
You are a part of it now, mate. That's the thing, isn't it? You know, it's not just getting your name out there. It's the fact that, you know, someone's creating someone's creating music, you know, on an instrument that you've built, you've made. They obviously like it. He's playing it. It looks great on stage. I think the singer needs a lozenge. So
yeah. Well, and what there's another band as well. They're more of a bluesy band, and the lead guitarist owns a couple of my cigar box guitars, and to me that's even cooler to see, especially around this area, because a lot of times people can't get over the novelty of a cigar box guitar.
Yeah.
They think it's kind of a toy until they see it being played. Well, it doesn't have to look like the traditional guitar or have as many strings on it for it to, you know, light up the crowd.
So I must admit, mate, I totally agree with you on that, because it's one of the probably the biggest obstacles that I had when I was when I had the shop up here in the Blue Mountains. The biggest issue that I had was actually with the local musicians. They kind of walk past the shop and they'd look in and they go, "What are these?" And there was that kind of novelty factor. Oh, they're toys. It was funny, you know. It took a long time for people to kind of, you know, even when they picked one up and they had a play. Oh, it's not a Stratocaster. It's, you know, it's not a Gibson. It's not a Strat. That's not a real guitar. That's not the, you know.
Doesn't have enough strings.
There was a fair bit of nose turning up and snobbery. Oh, that's not a real. You know, I was surprised with, because I thought, like, the Blue Mountains are generally a very bohemian kind of place, and I thought it would have been
accepted very quickly.
Well, I thought it would have been accepted a lot more. And what I found was that the store, this is prior to COVID, with the lockdowns, I found that with the store, it was the tourists that jumped on board with it. There was that novelty aspect to it. A lot of people, oh, what are these? Oh, that's, you know, they're cigar boxes, or, you know, oh, you've made the box, or whatever it was. And it was that case of that surprise of, oh, it does make music. Oh, especially when you were talking about ukuleles before. I'd built a few ukuleles, and the uke people were even harder to convert than the 6-string players, because ukulele players, man, those guys are mental. They're like, you think that's just, I look at ukuleles and think that's a toy. These guys, that we have the CUB, which is, I think, the ukulele, a massive festival up at Katoomba every year in around about March. And thousands of people come to it. People from all over the world go to Katoomba for this ukulele festival. And I put a couple of stalls up a couple of years, you know, and I did a few things. I didn't sell ukes. I'm not a uke guy, man. I'm just not. It's just, I've played a few. I know a few chords. It's just not my jam. That's okay. But I built a few box ukuleles, and man, some of the people were like, it was so funny. It was so funny. So, because people who were playing an instrument that I thought was a toy were complaining that my guitars that I was building, the ukulele CBGs, were a toy as well. And I'm just like, dude. And then other people played them and loved them. But it was like, no, uke players are completely in another world. I'm telling you. Ukulele players are in a completely other world. And it's like, they are passionate. Like, I love it. I love it, because to me it's a challenge to kind of get people to play stuff. But yeah, ukulele players, man, they're living on another level. I'm telling you, like the full on, not your guy who has one in the corner and picks it up and has a twang, like your proper uke guys. they're proper Ute guys, you know.
And they're coming for you now. They're listening.
No, I mean, the thing is that
your message is about to light up.
I mean, I love it. I do. I love it. I love the fact that they're so passionate about it. But they are. They're like next level passionate. Like these people are just full on, you know. And it's like, wow. It completely it blew my mind. Like having a shop, having a store where people walk in and out, and people wear their heart on their sleeve, and it's a really interesting situation, you know, in relation to that. And it's like, you really get to know what people think about instruments, about music, about your own builds, about, you know, all that sort of stuff. I heartily suggest that anyone who has an opportunity to sell to people, and not just have an online thing, do it. Because it's incredible. It really is.
I will say, I've got guitars that sit on the wall for years before they sold, or if they even sell. But every single ukulele I've ever built, it's gone. You know, within a week, somebody buys it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know what it is, but say like this one. This is actually the very first one I did. And it's my girlfriend's, and she loves it.
Yeah.
And
is that an MGB neck?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know at the time, I think you were a poster boy for him.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't really buy pre-made necks, especially. I don't really like the bolt-on style this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For guitars, anyways. For ukuleles, they're just fine. But I've tried plenty of them, and I don't care for them, you know. But I've got to say, like this little thing was $20. It's probably the best sounding ukulele I've ever heard.
What brand is that? Macala?
Martin Smith.
Oh, okay.
It's just a very cheap, you know, musician's friend.
Yeah.
You know, they have their deals, and I don't know how they make them that so cheap.
Yeah. Probably one of the loveliest ukuleles that I ever had. I can't remember where I bought it, or how I got it. It was a Rose Morris. Rose Morris was an English company that set up shop here in Australia in like the 1940s, 50s, and they were around for a long time. They were the ones that I think they did golden tone amps. If you know those amps, Joe. You know, they did a lot of tube amps and solid state amps. I've actually got a beautiful book. I should show you one day. It's lovely. But I actually gave it to my father-in-law. He passed away last year, and I was kind of hoping to get it back, and it's disappeared. I don't know where it is. So it's a shame. But it was a beautiful, and it just sounded lovely. Like I don't know where it was made. It could have been made in Japan, or could have been. I'm not too sure, but it just had a really lovely sound. I'm glad he got it. I'm glad I gave it to him. I gave it to him about probably 5 years ago or something like that.
Do you remember the name Cal Harris?
No.
He's Australian. He's been in the groups. He's very quiet these days. He does his business page is Blue Wrench Ukulele, I think it is. Yeah. But his name's Cal Harris. He's into harmonicas these days. He makes the wooden comb, repairs harmonicas.
Oh, okay.
But he makes the best ukuleles I've ever seen. He uses like spotted gum tops and does intricate details. It's all handmade stuff. He steam presses his sides.
Wow.
Really, really good work. I haven't seen anything from him for a while though, but to me, he would be one of the best ukulele builders out there.
Yeah.
And he's not currently doing it.
Yeah.
If you're listening, Cal, get back to it, mate.
I've enjoyed them. I had one which I built a little while ago. I ended up giving it to a colleague as a birthday present at the end of last year, and it was a really sweet sounding little thing. And I build them exactly the same way that I build like the neck through style as I do any of my normal like piezo kind of powered neck through style guitars. I don't do anything different. And they sound plinky, but I always think that ukuleles sound plinky anyway.
Yeah.
Which is part of their charm.
You can tell the sound.
Yeah. And actually, I've got a book, which is probably one of my faves. I've set up my corner, man. Check this out.
That's your corner.
That's my little corner. That's my little happy space in the study. This one here, Bill Yaley, the Cigar Box Ukulele. This is an amazing book. Everyone should go out and get it. If you're into ukes and you want to build ukes, this is Bill.
Well, that guy's a genius. I've met him before.
Love the guy. I've interviewed him twice.
Oh, there you go.
I still need to get his other book. But this book is beautifully put together. It is, and it's all about, I think, the Kamaka, Sam Kamaka Jr. built a dozen ukuleles from old cigar boxes. Was it for serious experimentation or personal amusement, or a little of both? And they are, and look check this out, man. So, apologies to the people listening on the podcast. I know this is a visual thing. I'm opening up a true-to-life size a template for these ukuleles. And
that's in the book.
That's in the book. It comes with the book. He shows you, and he's a bit of, I'm going to admit, he's a bit of a genius, Bill Yaley. He's highly intelligent, like utterly gifted, totally on spectrum, I reckon. ADHD up the wazoo, and he is amazing. Go out and see if you can find Cigar Box Ukulele Master Craftsmanship meets Commodity Materials by Bill Yaley.
He also built the amps, I think.
Yeah, I checked back on the podcast, Jessie. I have interviewed him for the podcast before this crazy little mob happened. I actually did interview him for his book. I want to buy the book. I just haven't had a chance to get it. It's definitely on my Christmas wish list. There's a couple of books I want to get. He is by far one of my biggest influences in this whole community. He's incredible. Absolutely amazing. He's actually an amazing builder as well. He builds really great guitars too. But he's a bit of a jack of all trades, is our Bill, and he's definitely like anti-establishment. Like he's totally into the whole hands-on scene, and actually I'd love to have an interview, get him on to talk to us. He'll talk your ears off, and you just sit there and just go,
yeah.
He's great. He's really, really great. Couple of things just before we go, news-wise, I suppose. Really great to see Shane Spiel kind of back in the land of the CBG living. He disappeared for a little while, and it's really lovely to see him kind of coming back. He's got his group happening back again. Louis Lamana's, and the team over there still, really rocking with that get-together thing. I still think we need to start doing something like that here in Oz. I've spoken to some local people who are pretty gung-ho about us doing something here in the Blue Mountains. It might be, whether it's cigar box guitar related or whether it's just homemade instrument related or whatever it might be, that could be a lot of fun. The other thing is... jump on YouTube. A couple of things on YouTube that have come out recently. Chickenbone John has done a few really, really, really interesting videos as of late, referring to use of CNC in our workshops. A very well thought out kind of prose. He's really kind of talking about, he went to some seminar or an exhibition or something about using CNC machinery, in workshops and things like that. And he was asking and kind of wondering as to whether or not it would be something that would be useful to cigar box guitar builders or builders, of homemade instrument fame, that type of thing. And one of the things that I noticed is that he likes the idea of them, but he doesn't like the idea of, firstly, the massive investment that's involved in it. And what he did, which was rather interesting, was he compared using CNCs to creating jigs. And within his workshop, and he builds a lot of cigar box guitars. Like that is his full-time job. He employs his daughter. She builds alongside him, to the best of my knowledge from watching what they're doing. They do builder workshops and all that sort of stuff. That's their main income is the cigar box guitar industry. And even he's saying he doesn't think the CNC has a place in his workshop for what he does, considering the outlay and the time. One of the big things was, he said it was interesting that it was going to be the time away actually having to learn how to use the machinery, the actual time to invest in understanding how to actually use it. And he said, at the end of the day, he said, give me a few decent jigs and I can do exactly the same thing and probably faster. He's got a 2.5 minute video where he shows you how he simply shapes the neck with a spoke shave. It takes him 2.5 minutes to shape a cigar box guitar neck the way, to rough shape it. It's interesting. How do you guys feel about the idea of CNC and laser cutting and things like that in a workshop for us?
I love it. I personally love it. I can't wait to get my own one. I actually have a guitar body in the local trophy shop. They do laser engraving. I have a good buddy system with them.
Yeah.
So I learnt the editing software that they use for their machine. So I came home, I did all the education on myself, watched all the YouTube tutorials on how to use their software. So while I'm at home, I can do all my designs, anything I want to do, and I do it in a format that is readable with their machine. And then I email them the graphic. I take in the work. They do the job for me. And, and I love it. A lot of my high-end builds have a lot of laser work on them. The Viking guitar, the Pirate guitar. I'm a big fan of it. You can do very intricate detail work. You can do, instead of doing circle fret dots down, you can do skull and crossbones if you want. Yeah. And then you can backfill it full of resin. I've even done reverse inlays. So I've gotten 2 different species of wood. I've done a laser engraved. I've done the Clutch Creations logo.
Yeah.
This one right here. So this was a great little sample of laser technology.
Oh, wow.
So this is a piece of cedar.
Yeah.
And it has Clutch Creations with the cowspole inlaid in oak. So I had to do a negative pocket, and then I had to do a stand for the oak, and then I pressed it all together. So that's a wood inlay done at absolute hair precision.
That's amazing.
And you cannot do that without CNC laser machine. It's as simple as that. You cannot get that. And that's for detail work. And the side that I haven't gone into yet is like cutting fretboards, doing fret slots.
Yeah.
Like if you get a board that has another, you could get 6 fretboards out of. You take that whole board in, they'll line it all the way across, and it'll all be done, and you'll have 6 perfectly cut fretboards out of a CNC machine.
Now, how long does it take though to do that? Is that so you're looking at outsourcing? And using
because I don't
CNC
have the machine. Because I don't have the machine.
Yeah, totally understandable. Totally understandable. So that definitely works.
Because I do all the graphic work myself, because I learnt their program and the graphic work, the only fee they charge me is the time on the machine.
Yeah.
That's it. Because there's no computer work with my graphics. I've done it all. All he has to do is make sure the measurements are correct, hit enter, and that's it. And then the clock ticks. And so I pay for usage of the machine.
Yeah. So
instead of a customer paying, say, $100 for a job, I pay $50.
And you share your not share. What the hell am I talking about? No, you supply the timbers and things like that. You supply the wood that he's going to use. So that's what I want it on. This is how I want it done.
Yep. I do all my layout. I find out on my material. I'll actually mark out exactly where I want the logo. I'll point the direction up so they understand the layout of my piece.
Yeah.
I usually send the email, and then after work I take the piece in and we have a bit of a chat, and he asks me any questions, and so we get on the same page. It's a really, really good partnership, and because I've been doing it with them for quite a while now, I also get to see it happen sometimes. I get to video a little bit of it in the magic. I also get to go through all those scraps of bits and pieces and like different bits of brass plaques and whatever new technology they're doing. I have there's one that I'm about to release. I was a month or so ago. I was building an Iceman body shape.
Yes,
and I have a brand new finish for this guitar that I don't think anybody has seen this technology used in this way yet.
Wow.
And I wouldn't be able to do this without the trophy shop. And when I'm finished with this, the only thing I can say without giving away too much is think of an old 70s van mural, like a barbarian mural. So I'm going to have this done on this guitar in a new technology that is completely impossible for me to do, and it comes polished as well. So there's no sanding, there's no clear coating. Once I give them I'll give them the product. When they give it back to me, I'll be able to put this guitar together, and it'll be something that no one has seen, and I'm very excited about it. I can't wait.
And this is for a client?
This is for a client. Yep. And I know I did go off topic of the laser. It's of the CNC, but by having this connection with these people that do this for a living, I'm also able to tap into other bits of their technology that I never would have known about.
Well, laser cutting and CNC. I mean, it's there's some great videos even back from 2016. I think of the CB Giddy workshop.
Can I just interrupt for a sec? Sorry.
Yeah.
I've got to get going. So I'm going to have to cut out early.
No worries. Okay. Darren, thank you so much, mate. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you, Darren.
I'll talk to you a little later. See you, buddy.
And don't bite your friends.
Yeah, good man. See you, pal.
So, working on these ukulele necks, I'm seeing both sides.
Yeah.
Okay. Fretboards, the rough milling process of all the wood, no problem. I can do that with my regular shop tools. My table saw, my planer, and such like that. And I did make jigs to speed the process up.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to make matching bridges, string through bridges, how ukuleles are.
Yeah.
Doing multiple, and quantity of those by hand, it's day and night. I wish I had a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you get the accuracy as well.
Yeah.
If you're doing multiples, they're all identical.
Yeah.
They're going to all be the same.
Well, that's how when you buy parts out.
Technology.
That's
Sorry, Adam.
Whenever you're buying parts out of China, and if you're buying ukulele bridges out of China, or you're buying guitar bridges out of China, or anything like that, all that stuff's cut on CNC. It's all cut on CNC, and it's all the stuff that Ben's doing out of CB Giddy, MGB. You know, all the stuff that Michael's putting out of MGB, all that stuff. It's all laser cut. It's all, you know, the guitar pickups that I like. Those little, you know, the little 3-pole pickups that I like. You know, those are all that stuff is cut on laser. Nothing's it's not done by hand anymore. You know.
As a builder, we can take that technology on as well, and it's not about being done with the old ways. It's about introducing a new tool and incorporating it into your old ways. It's old technology, new technology. You put it all together. You work it for yourself. It's not cheating. And I don't know about you guys, but the older I get, my body can't handle this much more. My back, my shoulders, I hurt. I need to start thinking of tools to do the job for me. Otherwise, my building days may come to an end. And, you know, the last thing I want is that. So it's also about adapting and growing.
Yeah. Look, and I also think it comes down to how many you want to build. You know, if you're building, you know, and what you want to do. Now, what you're doing, Joe, I think is very clever at the moment. Like, how many guitars are you building a year?
At the moment, I haven't built any. I've been trying to recover. I've had a bad back for quite a while, but on a normal year, I'm only building about 4 guitars.
Yeah, so it makes no sense to invest in a $10,000 machine.
No, the machine that I want to do the job that I want to do is about $3,000.
Yeah,
and
that's more practical. But
it's getting close. It's getting close. I need it to come down more. I find it much easier to have a connection with the local trophy shop that do engraving for a living, and have a connection with them, and them willing to work with me. I'm happy to do that because it also covers my ass if I make a mistake.
Yeah,
he'll pick it up before the job happens.
Yeah, great.
You know,
so because he knows his stuff. Yeah,
he knows his stuff, and I'll come to him with a loose idea. Sometimes, like sometimes my ideas aren't completely dialed in. I'll have a loose idea of what I want, and I'll ask him, how can we achieve this? And he'll either fix it on the spot or tell me what to do, and I'll go home and I'll redo it or re-edit it, and then we go back and forth. And without having him in my back pocket, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff. It'd be too hard to learn.
Well, see, for me, I was watching what he was doing, and I don't think there's well, first and foremost, that I don't have room for it. His biggest argument, realistically, was the fact that he just doesn't have room in his workshop for doing that.
That's the other thing. It has to be dust free. You have to have a containment area.
Yeah,
you can't just have it in the middle of your workshop.
Yeah, so I just don't have that. That's just not something that I've that I've actually got. So the other option is, but it has made me think about, and this is why I always suggest that people jump in and they check out YouTube channels and things like that. Use YouTube for your advantage. And Chickenbone John, he's always got interesting stuff. He's always he's not short of an opinion. We know that. But at the end of the day, he does have some very, very interesting ideas. And I take a lot of what he says on board. And I look at a lot of what he says. And one of the things that he does talk about is using jigs. I think that I don't use enough jigs. And I think that if I incorporate more jigs into my workflow system, I think it'll make life a lot easier for me. I think things will. Yeah, and I think that is definitely something that that I need to.
You have to. I have a whole catalogue of jigs.
Yeah.
I started getting addicted to them. Once I started to realise how handy they are. The second I had a new job I wanted to do, I'm like, how do I make a jig so I can repeat this job? Yeah, and I love jigs.
One of the things that does create an issue is when you're building your own boxes, like I do. Probably 80%, 70 to 80% of the guitars that I build are my own boxes.
Same here.
That one here. That's
a
butt jointed, handmade box. And the thing is, I can create jigs to help me create those boxes, and I'm going to do that because it's something.
Do it. Looking
at some of the things that he's done, I can say, okay, I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to set up a jig section and have things ready to go. But one of the things that are they
ply bodies?
I find
are they
difficult.
Ply bodies?
is
Do you make that body out of
they're
ply?
boxes. They're boxes. They actually make the box. They're pine, 42 by 19.
Yep.
All the way around. 3 mil ply top and bottom. No.
So if you had a CNC laser machine, you could cut out each panel for that box in finger grooves, in finger joints.
Yeah.
You could have out of one sheet of ply, you could do your template like back in school, making a paper cube.
Yeah.
You could do that with finger joints, and you could reproduce that exact box over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, but ultimately though, it as you were saying, it's a question of space. It's a question of having an environment that suits that. I work under the house. You know what I mean?
The only reason I mention it like that is to just sort of acknowledge that there actually is a place in this community for them. You can completely make your whole box
absolutely
using a CNC.
But if you look at the difference,
it'll still look like that.
But if you look at the difference now between a cigar box, which I'm holding up at the moment, good listener, and my box. Cigar boxes, I can reproduce using a jig. I can reproduce that over and over and over. And I like the size of this. This is the same size as the Monte Cristo boxes that I used to use for my Lightning Boy cigar box guitars. And I can't get them anymore. So I'm doing that. But if you look at cigar boxes, they're all different sizes. So it's more difficult in a way when you're using cigar boxes to use jigs, because a jig you make for one is probably not going to fit on another one. And if I got 10 of these boxes here, they'll all be pretty close, but they're probably, if you get the old ones, they're close, but they're not all the same.
I totally agree, but look at the jig differently.
Yep.
So, yes, the cigar box is all different shapes, but you can still have a jig that lines out your neck pocket or your pickup placement or your bridge placement. You can still have jigs for that.
Yeah.
And you can still have jigs for your neck construction. So, the box may vary, but there are still templates and jigs that you can use to speed up your sort of measurement process.
Yeah. Adjustable, maybe make them adjustable so that you can convert the size. So,
well, is your neck width always the same?
Mine generally is. It's usually 40 mil.
So you could make a jig for that,
for
your neck pocket. And then it wouldn't matter what box you have a jig for that neck pocket ready to go.
Yeah. Jessie, do you use jigs?
I have loads of them.
Yeah.
And even small ones, and because I think of a jig as just another tool.
Yeah.
Tool,
just another tool in the shop. And something that pretty easy to do if you just take a small chunk of wood, say 2 inches by 3 inches, like a business card.
Yeah.
And you've got, say you take 2 nails and you shove them through, pound them through the outside edges, in a little ways. And then you've got a pencil that pokes through the dead center, the middle of that. And when you turn it diagonally, you can run it down an edge, and you'll find a center
binder.
Center
binder.
Yeah.
Center line. Yeah.
And it's the dumbest, stupidest little thing, but you will use it a lot.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Well, that has been a very big podcast, guys. It's been a very interesting podcast today. So, Jessie, congratulations on the guitar, mate.
Hey, thanks.
Sorry, Joe.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Great, guys. All right. I think. Please, people, put in comments down in the. If you got any comments or anything like that, or you ever want us to talk about anything in particular, send a message through to the show. Please, if you're depending on which format you're listening this on, or which whether it's Apple or whether it's Podbean or whether it's whatever it might be, give us a if it's not a review, give us a thumbs up, stars or whatever it might be. Give us a like. It does help. It certainly helps with the algorithm. It helps getting the show out there to more people. Share it on Facebook when you do see it published. It certainly helps us. Again, big thanks to Ben and the team at CB Giddy for sponsoring the show. We do deeply appreciate it. There is an affiliate link down in the episode description if you would like to support the show. It's a great way, and big thanks to those people who have been doing so and have been doing so for a while now. It is deeply appreciated, very, very much so. Gentlemen,
you bet.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Pleasure's all mine.
And I think that's our longest one yet. 1 hour, 14 minutes.
Yep. Cool. That's a good one.
I was thinking about a half-hour show today. That ain't going to happen. Darren talks just way too much.
It's all Darren's fault.
Hey, I want to show you guys something real quick before we leave. So,
are we still connected?
Yeah, we're still connected. We're still on.
Oh,
yeah. Come on.
Go for it.
If you notice, so this is like a Stratocaster kind of bridge, right?
Yeah, he's holding up wet Yowie, people, for people online.
And I just took off the two outside saddles because it's a 4-screw. Well, if you notice, these are the only 2 screws that are holding.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So, really, that's just for pressure this way.
Yep.
Tension, I should say.
Yep.
Now, back here, when I sandwich those Jenga pieces, there's a piece on each side of the block.
Yep.
That holds it in place.
Tight.
Pocket. So you made a pocket.
Correct. So I thought that was kind of a cool design feature. Because it's still relying on the body, being the strings pulling it against the body.
Yeah, stopping from pulling it forward. Yeah, absolutely.
Good idea.
And the reason I didn't put a tremolo bar on is because this one's broke off inside of the So, this is a used, I save everything. If I do repairs for clients or whatever, I save all the used parts.
So do I. Yeah.
I love
You never know.
these guitars that are mismatched everything, mismatched the colors and the screws, everything like that. I'm kind of drawn to that unbalanced look.
That's it. It looks an amazing guitar, Jessie. All right, gentlemen, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Goodbye from me. Goodbye from Joe. Goodbye from Jessie. We know Darren left us a while ago. See you next time.